Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm Michael Kreslowski with Team K Realty, and we're joined today by Stacey Newman-Weldon, and she is going to be here talking with us about Da Vinci Day's Grand Kinetic Challenge. Stacey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So can we start off by actually saying, what is this? Because I think of it as being Da Vinci Days, but I think it's Grand Kinetic Challenge,
All right.
right?
Yes, both.
It's both.
All right. So the background of the event, I'll quickly, the Grand Kinetic Challenge is a 2-day event of human-powered pedal push, all-terrain kinetic art sculptures that are racing over a course that goes over land, over sand, through the mud, and over the water. So the machines have to carry everything. So it is basically steam in action
Yeah.
because the engineering required to carry and do all those things with a basically Frankenstein bicycle combined with a New Orleans style float. It requires a lot of engineering, but also to compete, you also have to have art. So it's a perfect fusion of the two.
That's what we're getting at. It's a fusion of arts and kinetics and sculpture and engineering. Oh, so
All together.
STEM, science, technology, engineering, math.
Don't forget the art. Steam.
Oh, okay. So you did say STEAM deliberately.
Yeah.
Love
Yes.
it. Thank you.
So that's what the race is. The origins of it all is that Da Vinci Days started back in 1987 as a festival combining between OSU, the town, and HP. And then it grew from there. And in 1993, Corvallis resident Ron, Raan, Ron Young, started the local version of the Grand Kinetic Challenge alongside Da Vinci Days because it fit in perfect with the whole STEAM motivation of Da Vinci Days.
Got it.
And so that's now been around for years. And in its heyday, I think we had up to 25 or 30 racers, and crowds were up to 30,000. But since then, it's morphed and changed. And in 2020, because of the lovely pandemic, the Da Vinci Days Festival itself closed down. But the 501c3 remains, and that's our umbrella for the race.
Okay.
Da Vinci Day still has a mission of helping produce STEAM-related events. So if Da Vinci Days comes back, it may, who knows, in the future. But for now, we have this amazingly absurd, wild, and wacky race that just is so exciting to watch and actually to participate in and all that. And I have to admit, my story is that I moved here 6 years ago, but I have family here. So 22 years ago, my niece got married on the same weekend, and we came around town and I saw the Kinetics racing and I fell in love. And I'm from the East Coast, so fast forward, I got involved in 1993, listen to me, 2023, I was going to be what they call a pilot on one of the teams. And the race didn't happen for a confluence of reasons. And it just irked me. I'm like, my machine has to have a place to race. So as it happens, when you start to volunteer and show a little bit of passion about something, all of a sudden I'm the co-race director.
We know where this is going.
Yes. So now this is my second year producing the event, and we are basing it basically what I see in my mind. I'd like to have it grow and be bigger and more spectacular and weirder than ever. There is a circuit of races. So the original race started in 1969 in Humboldt County, California.
Okay.
So it goes through 3 towns, Arcata, Eureka, and a teeny little town called Ferndale. And it's been going on for what now I think they're 50 something years. And it's tremendous, and it's only focused on the race. And it truly is a triathlon of the arts out there because they have to travel even further and more water and more. But it's also great oompa. And so we are starting to rebuild that back here. Our race is 2 days, and teams come all the way from California. We had some last year. This race team actually that we see back here is called the Humboldt Pie Company, or that was that art for that year. Their team name is Needs More Cowbell. And they actually come from Reno, Nevada. And this year's art is pretty stunning too. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they will come back for this year's race again. And they were last year's grand champion winner. That's why we have them up on the wall.
Love it.
And so, yeah, so racers come to Corvallis from Nevada, from California, Southern Oregon, and the other race is up in Port Townsend, Washington. So they'll come down too. And people also from those areas come down to help just volunteer if they're not part of a team. So we have people from all over coming in for this event, as well as the community. So it's really exciting.
That's super fun. So the event itself, where does this start in town? Where does it end? And what happens in the middle? What does this look like?
It has evolved over the years, depending on what we want to do. But this year, we start down at Crystal Lake Park, which is in the south part of Corvallis, and that's where the Willamette boat landing is.
Makes sense.
So we have a big tent set up that we call Grand Central. Haha.
You're speaking my language.
So the race starts for the teams earlier in the morning because they are competing on engineering. There's an engineering award for art and for pageantry. And pageantry also includes best song. And the song has to include the words Da Vinci, Kinetic, Corvallis, and their team name. So they have to make a song up and they have to perform it.
You can't have a Frankenstein bike race without a theme song for each team. So
Yep.
This seems only natural. Yeah.
It is pretty fun to watch. So it starts for them earlier. Spectators can come anytime, but the pageantry part starts around 10 a.m. on Saturday, and we have a stage this year. It'll be easier for the spectators to come and see. And then the race starts 12:15 p.m.
Okay.
And we always say ish with times because kinetics. Things happen. You never know. And then, so the race starts, and they do what they call a Le Mans start. So the racers are on one side, and their machines are on the other side, and they have to, when the gun goes off or whatever, they run across and then get on the machines, and whoever gets out first. And then they race through town, and they will come up here through second, and then turn down through town and make their way to PRAX, which is the Patricia Valiant Research Creative Center for the Arts, part of the OSU campus. And we have a photo op stop. So they are required to go into the parking lot, take a picture of their team in front of the PRAX building, and then they continue down through campus, and we'll end up at the Benton County Fairgrounds parking lot, where there is a sand dune, because Corvallis does not naturally have sand dunes, unlike the California race.
Yeah.
So we made one, and apparently we imported the sand decades ago. And yes, sometimes the town does allow local residents, when they are trying to fight flooding, which rarely happens, but they can go and use our sand. So we have to fluff it every year, which is fine. And it is its own particular challenge for racers. They have to go up and around, and some machines can't make the corner, and they have special gear that they have to attach to their tires.
Sure.
To be able to travel, because you can't use regular tires on sand. So they attach stuff. And everybody has their own idea of what stuff works best. So then they go there, and then, so that's Saturday. And then the finish line for Saturday is at Avery Park. And this year, that's where the race teams will be camping.
Okay.
In years past, they used to camp at the Benton County Fairgrounds, but now we're in different places. And I love Avery Park because we're right in between the dinosaur bones and the climbable steam engine that they have
The
there.
train.
And
Yeah.
on the other side is the rose garden, which blooms probably through October, but it's just beautiful. And so it'll be a great place to hang out and be central, and not too far from this and not too far from that kind of thing. And then on Sunday, which is our another big day, starts at 10 a.m., and we do the mud bog challenge. So the town allows us to create a mud bog down at Crystal Lake Park, where we actually have somebody who comes in and digs up the dirt and adds a lot of water. And then the racers have to slog their way through it, and they only have 15 minutes to do this. So they have to slog their way through on their own human power. They can't, if they get pushed or pulled or anything, they get disqualified. Because there is a race, an award we call the Leo, and that means you complete the entire race without cheating or breaking the rules or anything like that. So that's something that is a source of pride.
So it's almost like the integrity is a separate category within the race in that regard.
Yeah, the engineering has to work on all these things. And
No, but I'm sure the real distinction there is if someone actually gets in a jam and someone has to go push them.
no, there's plenty of people that do that, and they can still win like awards for art even
Okay.
if they haven't completed.
Okay.
So it doesn't just because that happened doesn't disqualify them. There's also fan favorite, judges favorite, racers favorite, and we even have, this is my favorite, the best teddy bear award. We
So
have a teddy bear judge. We have a teddy bear. The Toy Factory sponsors it, and they give us a cuddly. This year we actually have a very funky looking chicken because it goes with our logo, which is called the Vitruvian chicken, the Kinetic chicken. It has its own story, but it is very funny looking, and we love doing anything quirky and silly and bizarre. So yeah, so anyway, so yes, if they get through the mud, and then after the mud, they rinse off, and then they all line up and get themselves water ready. So at the Willamette boat landing, they will go into the Willamette River.
so there's the distance, the sand, the mud slog, and now we're getting into the hydro portion.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay.
Yes, and part of it, people like to root for the biggest splash. Some of it is, will it float? We have one entry called The Glory, and she's been around since 2002, but she only floated once or twice before because they changed the wheels, and those particular wheels don't float. But this year she's getting new wheels, and she weighs 1,500 pounds and has 5 pilots.
Wow.
It's a monster machine. Monster machine. That one will be the big nail biter. Will it float? And then they float down. They have to go under the bridge through the center channel and then come back out at Michael's Landing. So they are timed. There is also an award for fastest on the river.
So this river float that's a legit serious river float, because when we've mentioned floating the river in previous videos about recreation opportunities, we talked about putting it in Willamette Landing, where you're talking about in Southtown, and then coming out at Michael's Landing, where the restaurant used to be up here north of downtown. So you're talking about the Grand Kinetic Challenge doing that whole length as well. So this is not just, okay, will the machine float, take a picture, you're done. They have to get there.
They have to get there.
Okay. It's a whole separate kind of race.
Whole separate, yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons they call it like a triathlon, because
It
there's
really
all
is.
these different things. And we do have the marine boat police out there in case they float too far or they go off course or need help.
Good.
So safety first.
Sure.
Crazy machines, but safety first.
Sure.
So yeah, so then they come out and then they'll come actually, and new for this year is that the finish line will be just over here on Riverfront Park. And we'll have a band playing and all sorts of raw stuff to go on during the finish line. So we're very excited.
This is excellent. So what else do we need to know to make sure that we can either participate or spectate the event then? Exactly when is this coming up?
It is July. It's always the third weekend of July.
Okay.
Always. That is our weekend and has been since, I think, 1988, 87.
Okay.
So this year will be July 19th and 20th of 2025. Next year it'll probably be close, whatever. But yeah, it's always the third weekend. And so the best way, if you want to volunteer, because yes, and people do come in just for the weekend to volunteer and
Sure.
hang out and help out, because we need people along the route to tell the machines where to go. They can sign up on our website, which is davincidays.org.
We'll show it on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to spectate, we do have maps on the website where there's also a special page that says where to stand. And new for this year that we're experimenting with is a way to track the racers so that you know where in the course they are and so how much time you have to get to the next spot, that kind of thing. But there are key spots. So obviously Crystal Lake Park is a big one. Hanging out downtown is a good spot. The Prax Photo Op stop is always good because they all have to go there. And then the Sand Dune Challenge, of which we're getting more tents and stuff for shade because it is the parking lot and it's wide open.
Yeah.
It's a sand dune. And then on Sunday, again, the Mud Bog, which is Crystal Lake Park, the Willamette River. I wouldn't recommend going on the bridge right now. I'm not sure how the walking is with that.
A lot of construction going on. They're literally rebuilding the bridge as we make this video.
Yeah.
2025.
So like at Willamette, seeing them off or going down to Michael's Landing to see them come back. And then, of course, the finish line at the River Park is always good. And this year, we purposely coordinated with the downtown organization so that they are having their sidewalk sales, their annual sidewalk sale. So you can do a little bit of shopping, go do some rah-rah, go do more shopping, have some ice cream,
Very well done. Yes.
Yeah. It just adds to the fun to have a lot of people there. So those are the key spots to go and see everything.
And Stacey, if someone's interested in actually joining this as a participant, I'm assuming there's information on the website where they can see what kind of registration
Yep.
and requirements are there.
Yes. Yeah. So we have a whole volunteer page if you want to do volunteer. But if you want to become a racer, there is a whole section on that with the rules, the routes, because the rules are many pages long.
Fair enough.
And we have maps with the detailed turn by turn, and then registration forms and things like that.
Love it. And what kind of volunteer opportunities are there for folks who would like to lend a helping hand?
All the things. We're always looking for help in a lot of different ways. The form that I mentioned on the website, the page, lists a lot of the different opportunities. So like I said, you could just be what we call our road crew. So they're standing on the road helping racers go to where they're supposed to go. We have, there's so much. We need help with dinner, serving the dinners, because we have a thank you dinner for the volunteers and racers.
Excellent.
And if the planning team always needs help. So I moved here 6 years ago, and now I'm involved. So if somebody moves here and wants to get involved, we're more than happy. And it's great fun. There's a lot of things you can volunteer to do here in Corvallis, but this is the one fun, funky, goofy, wildly weird, delightful event to volunteer with.
Stacey, this is excellent. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this to help promote the event. And of course, just as a community member in the first place, thank you for all that you do for our lovely town, city, as well as the events too. It's so inspiring to see people like you bringing the arts and culture into our everyday lives in this capacity. So really appreciate you. And folks, if you have any questions, get on the Vinci Days Grand Kinetic Challenge website, reach out to the team, see if there's a way that you can be involved in it too. And of course, what we actually do for a living is we help people buy and sell homes here. We help people move here. But don't think of us as sales agents. We're happy to be a resource for you. If you're thinking about coming to the area, reach out before you get here. We can help you out and answer questions for you. So as always, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye for now.